front of Barnes & Noble and we're gonna go book shopping. I want to get back on track with reading, and fall is the best time to do that because fall is the time for reading. Like, I love fall books. I'm a big thriller fan. I like psychological thrillers. I just love reading during the fall time. I want to give myself a goal to actually enjoy the process of like buying books again, because I usually am just an Amazon girl, and I've been lately picking up just viral books that I'm not really that interested in. Like, those book talk videos end up just not doing it for me. So I do a lot of research more so on Goodreads and Reddit, believe it or not. So I have a list here of some books that I'm actually somewhat more interested in. So if I can find any one of these, awesome. Something else you should know about me is that I read with the seasons. I read 2 books per month, and I typically break down each season by 3 months. So for fall time, we're gonna do August, September, October. Do a nonfiction and a fiction book for every month. If I set that goal for myself, I'm pretty good at it. Lately picked up a few books that have gotten me back on the reading grind. One of them was called Malibu Rising. That was an amazing book. I finished it in like 3 days. And then I picked up Flowers for Algernon, I don't know, but it's one of those books that everyone's like, you have to read once in your life, and let me tell you, it is. It's an amazing book. So I will link those down below, but for right now we're just looking for 1 nonfiction book and 3 fiction books, because I have 2 nonfictions at home that I really want to read, it's just been in my closet for a while. So let's go book shopping, shall we? So fun. I have all the books here. I've actually already started 2 of them. So starting for the month of August, the nonfiction is The Book of Charlie. I actually found this just on the shelf. It just spoke to me. It says, wisdom from the remarkable American life of a 109-year-old man. If that doesn't intrigue you, I don't know what does. One of our nation's most prominent writers finds the truth about how to live a long and happy life in the centenarian next door. When a veteran Washington journalist moved to the Midwest, he met a new neighbor who was more than a century old. Little did he know that he was beginning a long friendship and a profound lesson in the meaning of life. Charlie White was no ordinary neighbor. Born before radio, Charlie lived long enough to use a smartphone. When a shocking tragedy interrupted his idyllic boyhood, Charlie mastered survival strategies that reflect thousands of years of human wisdom. Thus armored Charlie's sense of adventure, carrying him on an epic journey across the continent, and later found him swinging across bandstands of the jazz age, racing aboard ambulances through Depression-era gangster wars, improvising techniques for early open-heart surgery, and cruising the Amazon as a guest of Peru's president. Drayle came to understand that Charlie's resilience and willingness to grow made this remarkable neighbor a master in the art of thriving through times of dramatic change. As a gift to his children, he set out to tell Charlie's secrets. The Book of Charlie is a gospel of grit, the inspiring story of one man's journey through a century of upheaval. The history that unfolds through Charlie's eyes reminds readers that the U.S. has always been a divided nation, a questing nation, an inventive nation, a nation of Charlies in the roller coaster pursuit of a good and meaningful life. Already started, and already I've had so many profound moments in this. I think it's an amazingly written book. So far, so good. I will link all of these 2 down below. I'm just going to be sharing on my Instagram. I deleted my Goodreads account. Long story short, basically, I just don't want unnecessary social media platforms. Like, we have too much tracking, I feel like, these days, and like, the less the better for me. So yeah, Instagram it is from now on, but I typically will read the books and then I'll post about them after I read them and kind of give you guys my rating. But yeah, I'm excited to read this. The fiction book that I have for August is probably one of the most intriguing books I've ever seen. It's called The Cabin at the End of the World. A lot of people are talking about this book. Save your family or save humanity, make the choice. I heard it's like really eerie, and it's now a major motion picture, so that's awesome. They call it a tripwire tout horror thriller. There's a very, very, very good chance that you will never get this out of your head. So like, I don't know what to expect. Like, I don't know if it's a sci-fi. I'm literally halfway through and I still kind of don't understand, like, if is it going to be scary. I've heard the ending is like really mind fucking... So far, it's really good. It makes me want to read at night, for sure. 7-year-old Wynn and her parents, Eric and Andrew, are vacationing at a remote cabin in northern New Hampshire. Far removed from the bustle of the city life, they are cut off from the urgent hum of cell phones and the internet. Their closest neighbors are more than 2 miles away in either direction. On a summer day, as Wynn catches grasshoppers in her front yard, a stranger unexpectedly appears. Leonard is the largest man Wynn has ever seen, but he is friendly with a warm smile that wins her over almost instantly. Leonard and Wynn continue to talk and play until 3 more strangers, 2 women and a man, all dressed like Leonard in jeans and a button-down shirt, come down the road carrying strange and menacing objects. In a panic, Wynn tells Leonard that she must go back inside the cabin, but before she goes, her new friend tells her, "None of what's going to happen to you is your fault. You haven't done anything wrong, but the 3 of you will have to make some tough decisions. I wish with all of my broken heart you didn't have to." As Wynn sprints away to warn her parents, Leonard calls, "Your dads won't let us in, Wynn, but they have to. We need your help to save the world." So far, like what I've heard from what's going on, it's really eerie. It took a minute to get there, but it keeps you like entangled, and it's a lot of like character development in the beginning, but once you get there, you're like, what's gonna happen? Like, I have no idea, like even starting it, reading the back, being in the middle of the book, like where it's gonna lead, and I kind of love that. All right, so for September, the nonfiction book I actually have in the mail, I've ordered it 2 weeks in advance, but my pastor from Radiant Church, Aaron Burke, is an amazing preacher. Like, he just knows how to speak and like get to the root of your heart, and every time that he preaches, everybody takes something different from it. Like, he just has a way with words, and he's a very motivational, inspiring person. He has like 5 children, he's always in the gym, he like has a work-life balance, he's constantly promoting God, and I just really love like his outlook on life, and like I said, the way he talks is just, it hits deep. So he has a book coming out. It's called The Unfair Advantage. I went ahead and pre-ordered it. I don't think it comes out until the 8th of August, and right now it's the 7th, so we might get it tomorrow, but it's going to be my September nonfiction book. Aaron Burke takes a closer look at the 7 unfair seasons Joseph endures in the book of Genesis, and reveals how Joseph's struggles are not unlike the battles readers face today. Combining biblical truths with Pastor Aaron's insights from his years of walking with people through their biggest challenges, this book offers a message of hope and renewed strength for anyone who has battled seasons of feeling discouraged, rejected, undervalued, tempted, unfairly punished, deprived, or forgotten. The surprising reality revealed by the story of Joseph is that unfair moments and seasons of difficulty, if handled wisely, can actually be used by God for our advantage. Readers will be comforted and inspired as they encounter in a new way the dramatic story of Joseph's trials and ultimate triumph. Along the way, they'll learn how to transform adversity into advantage, endure the most challenging moments through courage and hope rooted in faith, and become aware of God's presence, peace, and promise in the midst of hardship. Readers who are walking through a season that seems unfair will be reminded of God's ultimate gift of favor. While their situation may seem hopeless now, they can trust that God is foregoing something beautiful out of the brokenness, putting purpose in their pain, righting every wrong, and building a destiny better than their greatest dreams. So basically taking your hardship and finding like the advantage within that hardship. Something that he had preached actually this past Sunday was that God doesn't cause pain, but he uses your pain for good if you let him. It just talks about being resilient, I think, and this past year I've been struggling a lot with just things that have happened to me, and I really want to stop being in that like victim mentality of like, boo-hoo me, why is everyone getting what they want but my life looks like this, and like how can I use my story and what I've gone through to my advantage, and not only my advantage but hopefully share my story with other people and help and inspire them in this sort of way. So I'm really excited to read this, especially from the vantage point of Jesus. As for my fiction book, I wanted something a little bit more cozy for September. This cover it says fall. It's called The Immortalist. I actually had this on my list quite a while ago. If you knew the date of your death, how would you want to live your life? It's 1969 in New York City's Lower East Side, and word is spread of the arrival of a mystical woman, a traveling psychic, who claims to be able to tell anyone the day that they will die. The Gold Children, 4 adolescents on the cusp of self-awareness, sneak out to hear their fortunes. The prophecies inform their next 5 decades. Golden boy Simon escapes to the West Coast, searching for love in the 80s, San Francisco. Dreamy Clara becomes a Las Vegas magician, obsessed with blurry reality and fantasy. Eldest son Daniel struggles to maintain security as an army doctor post 9/11, and bookish Vera throws herself into longevity research where she tests the boundaries between science and immortality. Both a dazzling family love story and a sweeping novel of remarkable ambition and depth, The Immortalist probes the line between destiny and choice, reality and illusion, this world and the next. It is a deeply moving testament to the power of story, the nature of belief, and the unrelenting pull of familiar bonds. So, yeah, September. As for October, like the month of fall, Halloween, I found the best Halloween book, How to Sell a Haunted House. I actually saw a booktuber, is that what you call them? She literally reads like hundreds of books a year, it looked like, and she had this on one of the best books that she's ever read, which goes to show like it's probably a really good book. I had never read this author's books before, but what I saw in Barnes & Noble, like they were all in the horror area and they looked terrifying. So I don't know how this is gonna go. Is it gonna scare me? I don't know. I'm not a big horror person, I'm more of like a thriller. So this is kind of out of my comfort zone. I've read a few Stephen King's and honestly weren't my favorite, but this seems like actually like horror, not like psychological weird horror that Stephen King typically does. All right, when Louise finds out that her parents have died, she dreads going home. She doesn't want to leave her daughter with her ex and fly to Charleston. She doesn't want to deal with her family home, stuffed to the rafters with the remnants of her father's academic career and her mother's lifelong obsession with puppets and dolls. She doesn't want to learn how to live without the two people who knew and loved her best in this world. Most of all, she doesn't want to deal with her brother Mark, who has never left their hometown, gets fired from one job to the other, and resents her success. Unfortunately, she'll need his help to get the house ready for sale, because it'll take more than some new paint on the walls and clearing out a lifetime of memories to help get this place on the market. But some houses don't want to be sold, and Louise and Mark's home has other plans for both of them. It's equal parts heartfelt and terrifying. That's what the USA Today said. That one I'm like low-key excited about, but kind of scared. And then, oh, I didn't even start with the nonfiction. We started with the fiction. But the nonfiction is called The Mountain and You. Had this book for a while in my cabinet, and I've heard amazing things about it online. It's a book about self-sabotage, why we do it, when we do it, how to stop doing it for good. Coexisting but conflicting needs create self-sabotaging behaviors. This is why we resist efforts to change, often until they feel completely futile. But by extracting crucial insight from our most damaging habits, building emotional intelligence by better understanding our brains and our bodies, releasing past experiences at a cellular level, and learning to act as our highest potential future selves. I really like that. Acting as our highest potential future selves. It's kind of like acting as if. We can step out of our own way and into our potential. For centuries, the mountain has been used as a metaphor for big challenges we face, especially ones that seem impossible to overcome. To scale our mountains, we actually have to do the deep internal work of evacuating trauma, building resilience, and adjusting how we show up for the climb. In the end, it's not just the mountain we master, but ourselves. Excited about that one as well. So like I said, I will leave all of these linked down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this fall reading list. Renee is officially back. I think the next one after this is going to be the New Year reading list, which is crazy. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I love you guys so much, and I will see you soon.